The Lionsgate portal peaks on August 8th. But this year, it's opening directly into a total solar eclipse in Leo just 4 days later. So this isn't actually only about what you're trying to manifest. It's about the inner version of you that must emerge in order to receive it. Choose the pile you feel most drawn to, and we're going to uncover what timeline is opening for you. I hope you enjoy. Okay, before we move into the readings, take a moment to look at each of the decks in front of you. Try not to overthink which one you're choosing. You might immediately feel drawn towards a particular deck, its energy, the crystal sitting on top of it, even the position that it's sitting at. You may also feel connected to more than one pile, and that's completely okay. There could be messages waiting for you in multiple readings. So take a slow breath, trust the first deck that catches your attention, and once you've chosen, you can head straight to your pile using the timestamps in the description. Alright, beautiful souls, if you picked pile 1, this reading is for you. The first question we're going to ask is, what chapter of your life is closing as you move through this Lionsgate energy? Alright, so the chapter closing for you appears to be one that has been heavily shaped by anxiety around your long-term future. The Nine of Swords suggests that you may have spent a lot of time worrying about whether everything is going to work out. Whether you'll have the stability, security, relationship, family life, career, or financial foundation you've been trying to build. Then with the Ten of Pentacles, this represents the larger vision you have for your life. This is not necessarily about one small goal. It's the complete picture, where you're going to live, who will be beside you, what you're building, and whether it will truly last. But with the Two of Swords here, I feel that worrying about the outcome may have left you frozen between different paths. You could have been delaying a decision because you were afraid that choosing incorrectly would somehow jeopardize the future you want. There may also have been a tendency to remain in familiar circumstances simply because they felt predictable, even when part of you already knew that something needed to change. The Lion's Gate is closing the chapter where fear is allowed to make your decisions for you. You're being asked to stop treating every choice as though one wrong move will ruin your entire future. Some of the answers you've been searching for cannot appear while you remain standing still. This chapter is not necessarily ending because you already know exactly what comes next. It's ending because you're becoming ready to move forward without needing every detail to be guaranteed first. So the next question we're going to look at is, what part of you is being activated through the Lion's Gate? Okay, I forgot to mention as well, in the first question, two of the cards had a lot of crows, so I feel like you might need to look out for crows as symbolism. Now, moving on to this. This is a very powerful part of you being activated here, pile 1. The part of you that understands you're not trapped within the life, identity, or circumstances you've known until this point. The Magician is your ability to consciously create change. It reminds you that you already possess more knowledge, experience, talent, and personal power than you may currently recognize. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment or for somebody else to open a door for you, you're beginning to realize that you can initiate something yourself. And with death and rebirth beside it here, this manifestation energy is not about recreating the same life in a slightly different form. A deeper transformation is taking place. An outdated version of you is falling away. The version that may have doubted their abilities, remained indecisive, or continued identifying with past limitations. You're being activated as the person who can rebuild after an ending. Then the Three of Pentacles shows that your next chapter may also involve becoming more confident in what you contribute. You may be developing a skill, sharing your ideas, working alongside other people, or allowing your talents to become more visible. Some of you have been trying to do everything alone, perhaps because you felt other people would not understand your vision. But this card suggests that the new version of you knows how to create something tangible, not only through personal power, but through learning, support, and meaningful collaboration. The Lion's Gate is activating the builder within you, the person who can take an idea, release what no longer belongs, and begin creating something real from the space that remains. Our next question is, where are you being asked to become more visible, confident, or courageous? Pile 1, you're being asked to become more confident in the way you manage your time, energy, and responsibilities. And more importantly, in the decisions you make about where those resources are going. The Two of Pentacles suggests that you may currently be juggling several priorities, roles, or even possible directions. You could be trying to keep everybody happy, adapt to changing circumstances, or maintain balance without fully committing to what you actually want. Then the King of Swords asks you to step out of that reactive energy and become much clearer. Your courage may look like speaking honestly, setting a firm boundary, or making a logical decision that you have been postponing. You're being asked to trust your judgment rather than continually questioning whether other people will agree with you. There's also something here about allowing your intelligence, knowledge, or perspective to be seen. You may have valuable ideas, advice, or experience, but perhaps you've been softening your voice or holding back because you do not want to appear too direct. The Six of Pentacles shows that this confidence is also connected to equal balance. You're being asked to look at where you are giving too much, accepting too little, or trying to earn support that should be offered willingly. Becoming more visible may mean confidently asking for fair payment, recognition, assistance, or equal effort. This does not require you to become cold or demanding. It simply requires you to stop treating your needs as less important than everybody else's. The Lion's Gate is asking you to lead your own life with greater clarity. Make the decision, communicate what you need, and expect the energy you give to be met fairly. Now we're going to look at what fear or attachment could prevent you from entering this new timeline. Okay, pile 1. The biggest thing that could hold you back is the fear that the past is going to repeat itself. The Ten of Swords shows an ending, betrayal, disappointment, or period of complete exhaustion that may have affected you more deeply than you sometimes admit. Even though that chapter may technically be over, part of you could still be making decisions from the pain of what happened. And the High Priestess suggests that deep down, you already know what needs to change. Your intuition may have been speaking to you for some time, but perhaps you've been ignoring it because following that inner guidance would require you to release something familiar. With the Four of Pentacles, there's a strong attachment to safety and control. You may be holding tightly to a relationship, belief, identity, job, routine, or even a version of the future, because losing it feels more frightening than remaining where you are. But sometimes the things we cling to for security, pile 1, are the very things preventing new energy from entering. There may also be a tendency to keep your feelings, ideas, or plans very guarded. You could be waiting until you feel completely protected from rejection or failure before allowing yourself to move forward. But that moment may never arrive. The warning here is not to let an old ending convince you that every new beginning will eventually hurt you in the same way. Your intuition is already guiding you away from what has run its course. Entering this new timeline requires you to trust what you know, loosen your grip on what's familiar, and allow the past to remain in the past. The next question is, what opportunity is opening between the Lion's Gate and the Leo eclipse? Okay, at first glance, pile 1. These cards may not look like an opportunity, but I actually think the opportunity here is release. You have 2 tens in this spread, with the 10 of Wands and the 10 of Swords again. I love numerology, pile 1. The more you watch my videos, the more you'll come to know that. This is definitely a way my guides and my deities communicate with me. And 10, when 2 numbers pop up repeatedly, that's a big sign for me. So 10s in numerology represent the completion of a cycle. It carries the energy of something reaching its final point so that a new beginning can emerge. 10 also reduces back to 1, which means an ending is clearing the way for an entirely new chapter. So the 10 of Wands shows that you may have been carrying far too much for far too long. This could be emotional pressure, responsibilities, expectations, or burdens that were never entirely yours to hold. The Devil here suggests that some of these burdens may be connected to an attachment, unhealthy patterns, fears, obligation, or situations that have kept you feeling trapped. You may have known that something was draining you, but continued carrying it because it felt difficult to release. And the 10 of Swords has now appeared for the second time in your reading. That repetition feels significant. It suggests that an ending is not only approaching, it may already be trying to happen, but part of you is still holding on to what has reached its natural conclusion. The opportunity opening between the Lion's Gate and the Leo eclipse is the chance to finally break a cycle that has exhausted you. This could involve walking away from a toxic dynamic, releasing an identity built around struggle, or deciding that you're no longer willing to sacrifice yourself just to keep something functioning. The Devil also reminds you that not every chain is permanent. Some chains remain because we have become used to wearing them. This eclipse period may bring a moment of clarity where you release that what you thought you had to endure is actually something you're now ready to leave behind. The opportunity is not necessarily about adding something new immediately. It may first be about putting down the weight, ending the attachment, and creating enough space for your new timeline to begin. So now we're going to ask, what could begin manifesting over the coming months for you, Pile 1? Okay, what begins manifesting over the coming months may arrive through a sudden change that initially disrupts the way you thought things were going to unfold. The Tower is not always comfortable, but it clears away structures that are unstable, outdated, or no longer aligned with who you are becoming. Something may shift quickly. A plan, relationship, belief, routine, or direction. And although it may feel unsettling at first, Pile 1, it appears to be creating space for a much healthier balance. Temperance shows that what follows is healing, integration, and realignment. You may begin finding a pace of life that feels calmer and more sustainable. Situations that once felt extreme could gradually settle, and different parts of your life may begin working together instead of constantly competing for your energy. This also suggests that you're learning how to respond differently when life changes. Rather than panicking or immediately trying to rebuild what has fallen, you may give yourself time to understand why it needed to change in the first place. And then the 7 of Wands shows you becoming much more protective of this new balance. Over the coming months, you may manifest stronger boundaries, greater self-respect, and the courage to stand behind your choices, even when other people do not fully understand them. You're no longer being asked to preserve what is collapsing. You're being prepared to defend what is being rebuilt in its place. So although the manifestation may begin with an unexpected shake-up, what it ultimately creates is a more aligned life and a version of you who is far less willing to abandon themselves to keep the peace. Now we're going to ask, what physical action will anchor this energy into reality? Oh, Pile 1. The 10 of Swords here has appeared 3 times now in your reading, so this ending is impossible to ignore. Your guides are making it very clear that the physical action required from you is to finally treat something as complete. This may mean ending contact, removing yourself from a draining commitment, clearing out objects connected to an old chapter, submitting the application, cancelling the plan, or making a decision you have continued postponing. I'm also hearing in my head, if you have an ex or an no contact situation and you keep checking up on their social media, you're going to have to block this person to stop you from checking up on them, because it's time to let that go. That's very specific and it'll only be for some people, so whatever this represents for you, it cannot remain as something you have emotionally outgrown, but still physically maintain. The Three of Wands asks you to turn your attention towards what comes next. Once you've taken that action, begin creating movement towards your future, even if it's only one practical step. Research the opportunity, make the booking, send that message, start the project, or create a plan where you want to be several months from now. This is about showing the universe that you're no longer facing backwards. And Strength says this needs to be done with courage and self-control. You do not need to act impulsively or create unnecessary conflict, but you do need to remain firm. Keep that person blocked, okay? That's really coming through strong. The difficult part may not be taking the first step, pile 1. It may be resisting the temptation to return to what you have already decided to leave behind. Strength is also a Leo card, so its appearance within a Lionsgate reading feels especially significant. This portal is asking you to embody courage rather than simply wait to feel fearless. The action that anchors this new timeline is simple but powerful, pile 1. Close the door properly, face the future, and remain loyal to the decision you made for yourself. Now we're going to turn to the oracle cards and see what's the final message from your guides. Okay, as I pressed record, I had 1 hour and 11 minutes left in my memory card. So 111 could be significant for you guys. Maybe something's going to happen one day, 1 month, 1 week, 1 year. You might see 111 a lot as confirmation. Take it how it resonates. Okay, so you guys got 2 cards come out. So the first card is choice. Your decision will be correct. And your second card is empower. Trust your inner vision. Pile 1, this feels like a direct confirmation that you already know which direction you need to take. Your reading began with the 2 of Swords, showing hesitation, uncertainty, and the fear of making the wrong decision. But your guides are ending the reading by reassuring you that the decision you make from a place of honesty and self-trust will be the correct one for your path. That does not necessarily mean the choice will be easy, okay? Or that everyone around you will understand it. It means it will move you out of stagnation and towards the life you are actually trying to create. Trust your inner vision also connects strongly with the High Priestess. Your intuition has already been showing you what has ended and what is draining you, and what your future could look like once you stop holding yourself back. You may be looking for more proof, another sign, or somebody else's permission, but these cards are saying that the clearest guidance is already coming from within you. The Lion's Gate is not asking you to become someone completely different. It's asking you to empower the version of yourself that already knows what they deserve, what they are ready to leave behind, and where they want to go next. So your final message from your guides is make the choice. Trust what you see for yourself. Your new timeline begins when you stop doubting the person you're becoming, pile 1. And that concludes your reading, beautiful souls of pile 1. I hope it resonated. Let me know in the comments below. 222 on the camera. Take that as confirmation as well, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, if you picked pile 2, this reading's for you. The first question is, what chapter of your life is closing at the Lion's Gate? Okay, pile 2. The chapter closing for you appears to be one where you've constantly had to contain your emotions, protect your energy, and remain composed, even when there was far more happening beneath the surface. The King of Cups can represent emotional maturity, but in this context, I also feel it may show how accustomed you have become to keeping everything under control. You may be the person who stays calm, understands everybody else's feelings, and rarely allows others to see when something has deeply affected you. And with the 7 of Wands, this has also been a very defensive chapter, pile 2. You may have felt as though you constantly needed to protect your choices, prove yourself, or remain prepared for somebody to challenge your boundaries. Some of you have spent so much time defending the life you currently have that you haven't had enough energy left to imagine what else could be possible. The Two of Wands is showing you standing at the edge of a new direction. You may already sense that there's more available to you, but entering it requires you to stop making every choice based solely on emotional safety or what you know you can control. The Lion's Gate is closing the chapter where your strength is measured by how much you can quietly endure. You're not being asked to abandon your emotional maturity, Pile 2, or lower your boundaries. You're being asked to use those qualities to choose a larger life, rather than simply using them to survive your current one. This feels like moving from constantly protecting your position to confidently deciding where you want to go next. So now our next question is, what part of you is being activated through the Lion's Gate? Okay, Pile 2, the part of you being activated through the Lion's Gate is your ability to see through confusion and make a clear, grounded choice. The Seven of Cups suggests that you may have had several possibilities, desires, or different versions of your future competing for your attention. Some of these options may be genuine, while others may be based more in fantasy, fear, or what you think you should want. Justice brings clarity into that uncertainty. You're becoming much more honest with yourself about what is truly aligned, what is realistic, and what will create the consequences you actually want. This is not about choosing the most exciting option in the moment. It's about making a decision that feels fair, balanced, and right for the person you're becoming. There may also be a situation where you've been waiting for clarity, accountability, or some form of truth to emerge. Justice suggests that this portal is activating your ability to stop avoiding what you already know and respond accordingly. The Page of Pentacles shows that once you make that choice, you're ready to become a beginner again. You may feel called to study something, develop a practical skill, begin a new project, or take a small but meaningful step towards a more stable future. You don't need the entire path mapped out yet, Pile 2. You simply need to choose one direction and start investing your energy into it. This is the part of you being activated, the version of you who can separate possibility from illusion, make an aligned decision, and turn that choice into something tangible. The next question is, where are you being asked to become more visible, confident, or courageous? Okay, so I've previously just been working in threes for these questions, and a whole heap of cards came out for this one, and I put them back and I said to my deity, I'm working in threes, girl. Just give me 3. And a whole heap of cards came out again, and she said in my head, they need more than 3 for this. So who am I to question a multi-dimensional being, a multi-dimensional eternal being? So 5 we have. Okay, Pile 2. You're being asked to become more visible when opportunities begin shifting around you. So the Wheel of Fortune suggests that your circumstances may be changing, perhaps more quickly than you expected. A new opening, direction, or turning point could appear, but you will need to recognize it and act rather than waiting until you feel completely prepared. I don't know, I'm hearing in my head modeling, so I feel like, again, that's going to be very niche and only maybe for one person or a handful of people that watch this video, but I don't know, take that how it resonates. The King of Wands is a very confident, visible, and influential energy. This is someone who trusts their vision, takes initiative, and does not need everybody else's approval before moving forward. You may be asked to lead, promote yourself, share your work, speak more openly about what you want, or allow yourself to be recognized for what you are capable of. And because the King of Wands carries such strong fire energy, this feels especially connected to the Lion's Gate. You're being encouraged to embody that Leo-like confidence, to stop shrinking yourself, and let people actually see you, Pile 2. Now, the 5 of Wands shows that part of your hesitation may come from comparison, competition, or the fear of criticism. You may worry that there are already too many people doing what you want to do, or that becoming more visible will invite disagreement and judgment. But not every challenge means you're on the wrong path, pile 2. Sometimes it simply means you've entered an arena where your voice can finally be heard. Now, the Eight of Swords and the Devil show that the greatest opposition may not even be outside of you. It may be the beliefs that tell you that you're trapped, unqualified, or too late, or somehow unable to change your position. There could also be an attachment to remaining unseen because invisibility feels safer. When nobody fully sees what you want or what you're capable of, nobody can reject it. But they also cannot support, recognize, or respond to it. The courage being asked of you is to move when the wheel turns. Claim your place and stop treating fear as proof that you should remain small. You do not have to eliminate every insecurity before stepping forward. You're being asked to step forward while refusing to let those insecurities control the direction of your life. Now, pile 2, the next question is, what fear or attachment could prevent you from entering this new timeline? The fear that could hold you back is the fear of reaching out, asking for help, or allowing another person to become involved in what you're trying to create. The Four of Swords suggests that you may have been sitting with an idea, plan, or decision privately for quite some time. You could be thinking everything through, waiting until you feel more prepared, or telling yourself that you need a little more time before taking action. And I specifically heard in my head that there may be somebody you already know who could help you with what you want, but you're afraid to contact them for whatever reason. The Three of Pentacles is the card of collaboration, guidance, and combining different skills to build something stronger. This person may have knowledge, experience, resources, connections, or simply a perspective that could help you move forward. But with the Nine of Pentacles, you may be very attracted to being self-sufficient. You could take pride in being capable, independent, and not needing anything from anyone. There may also be a fear that reaching out will make you appear inexperienced, create an obligation, or give somebody the opportunity to reject you. For some of you, you may even be thinking, I should be able to do this by myself. But entering this new timeline may require you to recognize that independence and support are not opposites. Receiving help does not take away from what you have already built or from your ability to stand on your own. The thing that could prevent you from moving forward is remaining isolated while the exact connection you need is already within reach. Your message here is to come out of contemplation and initiate the conversation. Send the message, ask the question, let the person know what you are trying to do. They may be far more willing to help you than you expect, pile 2. Alright, so the next question is, what opportunity is opening between the Lion's Gate and the Leo eclipse? The physical action required from you is to stop allowing fear of lack, rejection, or failure to determine how far ahead you are willing to look. So the Devil has now appeared for the second time in your reading. Earlier it appeared alongside the Eight of Swords when we looked at where you're being asked to become more confident. Its repetition suggests that an old belief, attachment, or coping pattern may continue trying to convince you that you're trapped. The Five of Pentacles shows what may be underneath that pattern. The fear that you will not have enough support, money, experience, or opportunity to succeed. You might be hesitating to pursue something because you are already imagining being rejected, excluded, or left without the resources you need. But the Three of Wands here asks you to physically begin preparing for expansion rather than organizing your life around the possibility of disappointment. Make the long-term plan, send that application, share the work, contact the person who may be able to help you, research the next stage, and take one action that reaches beyond your current circumstances. This also connects back to the earlier message about collaboration. The Five of Pentacles can show somebody remaining outside because they do not realize or do not believe that support is available. Don't isolate yourself because you're afraid of being told no. The devil may tempt you to remain with what is familiar, even when it keeps you feeling restricted. The Three of Wands asks you to turn towards what could become possible once you stop assuming that your present limitations will follow you into every future opportunity. The action that anchors this timeline is to choose movement over scarcity. Look further ahead, reach beyond what you already know, and take the practical step that fear has been persuading you to postpone. Now we're going to move on to the oracle cards and look at what's the final message from your guides. I feel like every time I do these videos, the most perfect oracle card comes out. Okay, so you guys got the Great Goddess, Transcendence, Divinity, Shakti. It's time to transcend your limitations and transmute them into power. Pile 2, your guides are reminding you that there is a powerful creative force within you that cannot remain suppressed forever. Shakti represents divine life force, the energy that creates, transforms, and brings possibility into physical form. This connects beautifully with the Page and Ace of Pentacles in your reading. You're not only being shown a vision of change, you're being encouraged to ground that power into something real. Throughout this reading, we've seen the Eight of Swords and the Devil appear more than once. These cards represented the fears, beliefs, and attachments that have made you feel trapped, unseen, or unable to move beyond your current circumstances. But this final card says that you're not here to remain defined by those limitations. You're being asked to take the energy that once manifested as fear, self-doubt, comparison, or scarcity and transform it into courage, ambition, and movement. The very experiences that made you question yourself may eventually become the source of your wisdom and strength. The Great Goddess also asks you to remember your own divinity. You don't have to prove that you are worthy of taking up space, receiving support, or pursuing a larger vision of your life. Your power does not come from never feeling afraid. It comes from refusing to let fear have the final word. Your final message is this, Pile 2. Stop treating your limitations as permanent. Reach out, step forward, and allow yourself to be seen. You already possess the power required to move beyond the version of your life you have outgrown. And that concludes your reading, Pile 2. Let me know in the comments below which parts resonated with you, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, if you picked Pile 3, this reading's for you, and we're going to start with what chapter of your life is closing at the Lion's Gate. Okay, Pile 3, the part of you being activated through the Lion's Gate is your ability to choose what is genuinely aligned with you, and then steadily build a life around that choice. The Lovers can absolutely relate to relationships, but it's also a powerful card of values, alignment, and decision making. You may be reaching a point where you can no longer continue choosing what is expected, familiar, or convenient if it conflicts with what your heart truly wants. The Eight of Swords suggests that fear and overthinking may have made this difficult in the past. You could have convinced yourself that you had limited options, that it was too late to change direction, or that choosing what you really wanted would create too many complications. But many of the restrictions represented by this card are created by perception rather than reality. The Lion's Gate is activating the part of you that is willing to question those limitations. Then the Knight of Coins brings this energy down into something practical. This is not about making an emotional decision today and abandoning it tomorrow. You're being activated as someone who can commit, remain consistent, and patiently create lasting change. For some of you, this could involve choosing a relationship, career direction, lifestyle, or personal goal that feels more aligned with your values. The important part is that once you choose it, you begin proving that decision through your daily actions. This is the version of you who no longer waits to feel completely fearless before moving forward. You make that aligned choice, take the first practical step, and continue even if progress initially feels slow. The next question we're going to look at is, where are you being asked to become more visible, confident, or courageous? Alrighty, pile 3. You're being asked to become more confident in expressing the truth about something connected to your past. So the 6 of Cups can represent memories, childhood, old relationships, or a previous version of yourself. There may be something from your past that still influences the way you see yourself today, particularly how safe you feel being fully visible. Perhaps there was a time when you were criticized for being expressive, passionate, emotional, or different. You may have learned to soften yourself, remain agreeable, or hide certain parts of your personality to avoid judgment. So if you're neurodivergent, I would lean heavily towards that's hinting at masking, okay? I'm definitely getting this energy that, you put a mask on when you meet people and around certain people. Now, the Queen of Wands has appeared for the second time in your reading. This is a strong confirmation that you're being asked to reclaim your confidence, creativity, and natural magnetism. The Queen of Wands does not apologize for taking up space. She trusts that her warmth and presence are strengths rather than qualities she needs to minimize. Take that mask off, pile 3. You don't need it. The Ace of Swords shows that courage may also involve speaking clearly. There could be a conversation you need to have, a truth you need to acknowledge, or an idea you're finally ready to share. You may have been keeping it inside because you are uncertain how it would be received. The 2 of Swords shows that hesitation. Part of you may already know what needs to be said or chosen, but another part is trying to delay the moment when you must fully confront it. The Lion's Gate is asking you to stop allowing an experience to silence the person you have become. Your visibility may begin through one honest conversation, one clear decision, or simply allowing yourself to express an aspect of your identity that you previously kept hidden. You're being asked to trust your voice and let your present self make the decision, not the version of who originally learned to hold back. Now, our next question is, what fear or attachment could prevent you from entering this new timeline? Okay, so pile 3. The fear that could prevent you from entering this new timeline is the fear that walking away from something means you have lost. So the 5 of Swords can represent conflict, resentment, competition, or situations where nobody truly wins. You may be attached to proving a point, receiving an apology, or remaining involved until somebody finally recognizes that you were right. There may also be a fear of being defeated, overlooked, or made to feel foolish. Because of that, part of you could continue engaging with situations that drain you simply because leaving feels like allowing somebody else to win. But the 6 of Swords shows that your path forward requires movement. You have 5 followed directly by 6, which feels significant. This is the progression from conflict into recovery, from remaining mentally entangled in what happened to deliberately choosing calmer waters. The challenge is that moving forward may initially feel unfamiliar or emotionally incomplete. You might not receive all the answers, closure, or accountability you hoped for before it is time to leave. The Page of Coins shows another possible fear, having to begin again. You may know that something new is available, but becoming a beginner can feel uncomfortable when you are used to being represented by those capable queen energies. You might worry that starting over means losing your status, stability, or everything you've already invested. But the Page of Coins is not a step backwards. It's the first tangible step into a new chapter with genuine potential. What could hold you back is remaining committed to an old battle because the new path requires humility, patience, and the willingness to learn as you go. You don't need to win every past conflict, pile 3, before you're allowed to move forward. Sometimes your victory is choosing peace, taking the lesson, and placing your energy into something that can actually grow. Now, our next question is, what opportunity is opening between the Lion's Gate and the Leo eclipse? Okay, pile 3. The opportunity opening for you is a chance to move forward much faster than you have been able to recently. Now, the Eight of Wands brings momentum, communication, and developments happening in quick succession. Something that has felt delayed or stagnant may suddenly begin moving, and you could receive news, an invitation, an answer, or even an opportunity that requires a fairly immediate response. But the Five of Wands suggests that this movement may initially feel chaotic. There could be several options appearing at once, competing responsibilities, or other people offering conflicting opinions about what you should do. For some of you, this may involve entering a more competitive environment where you need to trust what distinguishes you rather than comparing yourself with everybody else. The Chariot shows that the opportunity is not simply the external opening. It's your chance to take control of the direction your life is moving in. The Chariot succeeds by bringing opposing forces under one clear intention. You may still have doubts, distractions, or different desires pulling at you, but you're becoming more capable of deciding where your energy is going and committing to that path. There could also be literal movement connected to this opportunity, such as travel, a change of location, increased visibility, or finally moving ahead with a plan that's been sitting still. The message here is that events may begin accelerating between the Lion's Gate and the eclipse. Your opportunity is to use that momentum instead of becoming overwhelmed by it. Don't waste too much time arguing with every doubt, competing with everyone around you, or waiting for all resistance to disappear. Choose your direction. Gather your energy and move. The next question is, what could begin manifesting over the coming months? So what could begin manifesting over the coming months is success, recognition, and a faster pace of movement. We love that. Okay. So the Six of Wands shows you receiving some form of acknowledgement. This could be praise, increased invisibility, reaching an important milestone, or finally seeing evidence that your efforts are paying off. You may find yourself becoming more confident because other people are beginning to recognize something within you that you've been hesitant to fully recognize in yourself. What's especially interesting is that the Five of Wands appeared in the previous question, and now you have the Six followed by the Seven of Wands. That creates a progression from 5 to 6 to 7. The 5 represented competition, distraction, or different forces pulling at you. The 6 shows you rising above that and gaining momentum, while the 7 asks you to hold your position once you get there. This means the coming months may not only bring an achievement, they may also require you to protect it. As you become more visible, you could encounter stronger opinions, increased expectations, or people questioning the direction you have chosen. The Seven of Wands asks you not to immediately retreat or second guess yourself simply because your growth makes somebody else uncomfortable. The Knight of Swords brings speed, communication, and decisive action. News, conversations, or opportunities may arrive quickly, and you may need to respond before you have had time to overanalyze every possibility. Just be mindful of becoming so determined that you exhaust yourself or rush into unnecessary conflict. This Knight moves quickly, but the goal is focused momentum rather than reacting to every challenge. Over the coming months, you could begin manifesting a chapter where you're more recognized, more outspoken, and far more willing to defend the future you have chosen. Now, our next question is, what physical action will anchor this energy into reality? Okay, pile 3. The physical action that will anchor this new timeline is to make one clear decision about what deserves your energy and communicate it honestly. So the Queen of Swords asks you to become direct, discerning, and intentional. This may mean setting a boundary, having an overdue conversation, declining something that no longer feels aligned, or removing a distraction that keeps pulling you away from what you actually want. You've already spent enough time considering every side. At some point, clarity has to become action. The Ace of Cups shows that this decision creates space for an emotional new beginning. This could involve love, creativity, healing, spiritual connection, or simply allowing more joy back into your life. There may be something you genuinely care about that's been pushed aside because too many other demands have been competing for your attention. The Five of Wands has now appeared for the second time, which suggests that scattered energy is one of the main things you're being asked to address. You may be trying to pursue too many different directions at once, responding to everyone's opinions, or allowing minor conflicts to consume time that could be invested in something meaningful. The physical action could be choosing one priority and protecting time for it. It may be writing the message, establishing the boundary, beginning the creative project, or openly acknowledging what your heart wants. The Queen of Swords and Ace of Cups together asks you to balance truth with emotion. Don't make decisions based only on what appears practical, but don't allow emotion to keep you trapped in confusion either. Be honest about what fulfills you. Remove what's unnecessarily competing with it, and take one visible action that proves your decision. Now, the final question for pile 3 with the oracle cards is, what is the final message from your guides? Okay, pile 3, your final message is the Witch's Heart: history, survival, intuition, and spiritual truth. Resilience is this card's lesson. You're finding yourself again, and qualities that have been lost are beginning to resurface. Pile 3, this feels like a reminder that the person you're becoming is not entirely new. There are parts of you that may have been buried beneath responsibility, disappointment, conflict, or survival mode, but they were never truly lost. Your reading began with the Nine of Wands, showing how long you've been protecting yourself and pushing through difficult circumstances. You may have become so focused on surviving that you gradually disconnected from your confidence, creativity, intuition, or emotional openness. But the Queen of Wands appeared twice in your reading, and I think that's one of the qualities now resurfacing. Your natural confidence is returning, your voice is returning, your ability to trust your own desires and take up space is returning. The Witch's Heart also speaks about history and spiritual truth, so some of you may be reconnecting with something that once felt deeply natural to you. This could be a creative gift, an intuitive ability, a spiritual practice, a dream you abandoned, or simply a version of yourself who was far less afraid of being seen. Your past has shaped you, but it does not have to keep you trapped within the identity you formed while trying to survive. Resilience is not only your ability to endure, it's your ability to return to yourself after everything you have experienced. Your intuition already knows which qualities are ready to be reclaimed. Follow what feels familiar in a soul-deep way, even if it has been absent from your life for some time. Your final message, pile 3, is this: you're not starting from nothing. You're remembering who you were before fear, exhaustion, and other people's expectations taught you to hide. Let those lost parts of yourself return. And that concludes your reading, pile 3. I hope it resonated. Let me know if it did, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.